when you are choosing not to be put in that box, it's almost like a how dare you. Because people aren't used to dancers asserting control over how they use their time. And don't let you be a woman. Don't let you be a minority. Oh, then it's really a how dare you. What is up, artists and movers? Welcome back to another solo episode of Dance and Other Things, where I just chat with you guys about dance and other things that affect dancers' lives and careers and experiences and my experiences and stuff that I'm learning and unlearning. And today I really wanted to chat with you guys about rest and time, because my experiences these past few months have really been challenging how I used to think and talk about rest and time before this little time period that I'm having. So if you guys don't know or haven't noticed, which, I don't know, am I that important that you would notice? I don't know. But if you had not, I have been essentially taking a sabbatical from YouTube for me to just really clear my head and bring some different and new interesting stuff to you guys. I love that you guys love the content that I have out, but some of the content will be changing in a way that I hope is more valuable and also just kind of lets you guys get to know me more. But in the time where I am recording YouTube videos, or I guess in the past, the ways that I used to record videos, I would be recording every single week. Maybe I would be a week ahead. But it was very much, every minute of my time was accounted for. And in this time now, where I'm mostly recording things, sitting on them, taking way longer than I would in the past to edit them, going back and watching them, tweaking them some more, I'm really starting to understand how this time of rest is benefiting my work, and helping me actually make better stuff. And so I want to use this episode to share with you guys the four things that I have learned about rest in this time, and honestly to try to convince you to A, get more of it, and B, defend your rest. Like, defend yourself against people who will try to shame you about needing rest, taking time. And I want you guys to feel that way because of your own confidence in how you're choosing to use your time. Because ultimately I've learned to love it. I've learned to love rest. And I want you guys to also, because I feel like it's just making me a better person and creative and leader and all of the things. So you know how these go. Go ahead and let it play through your day. Do what it is you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Do laundry, cook a meal, etc. But yeah, let's just chit chat for a while. And of course, if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe, and also give me feedback in the comment section on your opinions on these episodes. I want to make sure that you're getting something out of them. Like I've told you guys before, these episodes are for us to have like real adult conversations about some real-ish. We're not going to sit here and talk about dance steps all day. Sorry, not sorry. But I would like to hear your feedback on some of the topics. So comment as you please. And yeah, let's jump into this. So something I have shared on this channel, I believe at this point multiple times, is that when I am consulting with a dancer who's looking to start a business of any kind, one of the first things I ask them is, what do you want your day-to-day to look like? And this is really my first tip for learning how to really value your time as a person and kind of look at your time differently. Define what that actually looks like. Let's go through from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep. What do you want your day to look like? And I do this because it really allows you to zoom in on how you actually want to be using your time. Like, we all have the same amount of time, but for you, how do you want to be using that time? And more specifically, how do you want to be using that time on a day-to-day basis? And it's because I've found that people actually don't really know. And I didn't know at one point. I wasn't certain about what I necessarily wanted my day-to-day to look like. And if you start doing something without a definite idea of like, what's our end goal here, you kind of just start taking on everything and then wondering why you're not enjoying how it feels to do those things. So, I like to ask, what time do you wake up in your dream world on a day-to-day? How are you spending the majority of your day? How do you spend the time after you're done with your day? What time do you think you're done with your day? In your day, what percentage of that time are you spending on the computer versus in the studio versus traveling between these different places? All of those things make up your experience of what time feels like. I remember when I was younger, when you're young, it's very hard to have a concept of time. It's just this thing that adults are like, yeah, in 30 minutes. Yeah, in an hour. Don't bug me. And as a kid, you're like, what does that mean? And for me, I used to watch a lot of Disney Channel. A lot of those shows are in 30-minute bites, a lot of the episodes. So as I got older, let's say maybe 8, 9, 10 years old, I would start to measure time in episodes of television, which I feel like sounds like a very millennial child thing. So if my parents were like, oh, okay, well, we can do that in an hour, I'm like, oh, okay, that's 2 episodes of That's So Raven. Got it. And that was how I learned to like make more sense of time so that I didn't become frazzled just hearing like, oh, we'll do that in an hour. Because if you don't have a concept of what an hour is, then God, when are we doing it? But I say all of that to say that like having an understanding of how time is going to feel for you and how you want it to feel is going to make it so that you're using your time in the way that you want to, and you don't feel frazzled going from thing to thing. And I think when people don't take into account what they want their day-to-day to look like, they do miss out on the small, minute things that make a huge difference. For example, if you are going to be teaching dance classes and you want to teach dance, that's fine. But do you need to teach every single class in one day? Do you need to go from the jazz class to the ballet class to the tap class? Like, why? Why is it that you have to teach all of those classes? What is it that you're trying to get out of being a teacher and an educator? Do you want to grow within that dance studio? Do you want to create your own dance studio? Are you just doing this on the side for some coin? Taking into account why you're spending your time the way you are will help you use it in the way that's actually most helpful to you. Because if you're not looking to actually grow in that dance studio, then you don't necessarily have to be teaching every single class like that in one day, going from back to back to back. And a lot of people don't function well, like with those tiny, tiny little breaks in between. Me personally, I could never teach 3 classes in a row. I would be drained. And so I knew for me that was not even an option for what my life was going to look like. There was no way I was packing a bunch of dance classes in one day, even if I did decide to teach. So really think about your day-to-day. what you want your day-to-day to look like. If you don't like waking up early, if you're not a morning person, don't wake up early. Don't wake up early. Wake up 10ish, whatever it is for you, but make sure that you are still able to do the things that you actually want to do, the things that actually are going to move you forward in that day. But you don't have to structure it just like other people do just because it's popular to get up at 5 a.m. now and start your day. Says who? For why? So the second thing I've learned about rest and time is that I am still worthy even when I'm resting. Especially when we are working so hard towards something, we can start to see the fruits of our labor and attach it solely to the fact that we were, quote unquote, putting in all this work, that we were hustling, that we were on our grind. And yes, good things do come when you put in the work. But I'm also a firm believer that good things come when you put in intentional work. And intentional work doesn't always have to look like you grinding, doing all of the things, doing stuff back to back, being, hustling hard. I don't necessarily think that is what ultimately decides if good things happen to you, if the things that you're working toward come to you. I've been really thinking about just challenging this idea of defining people based on their work, based on the kind of work that they do, how long they work. I'm learning as I'm starting to study that a lot of people who are incredibly high earners, they are hard workers, meaning that they are intentional about how they're doing their work, but they don't necessarily always work 24/7. And in fact, those who have amassed the kind of wealth that hopefully one day I'll get to see, and also who get to enjoy that wealth, and also who have healthy family relationships and healthy friend relationships and are not struggling under this immense pressure of mental health issues, those people actually have learned how to have things done efficiently without necessarily hustling and grinding. I want to do work that is effective, work that is going to be impactful. I don't necessarily want to be like hustling and grinding all the time. And that's an idea that I think challenges a lot of things that we hear as dancers, as artists, as creative people, and just as people who honestly just want to achieve some stuff. If you want to do anything in this life, you're probably going to hear, work hard, stay on your grind. And I know that comes from a helpful place, but I also know that a lot of people who are saying that are not necessarily people who are where I want to be. You feel me? So I've adopted this belief that I'm still worthy even when I'm resting. As someone who grew up in the Christian church, one of our deep core beliefs is that God is love and that God loves you no matter what you do wrong, no matter how many things you do wrong. And he also loves you no matter how many things you do right. Like regardless, either way, he loves you. And you are deserving of that love. And so although I wouldn't necessarily define myself as a Christian now, I do have a strong relationship with God. And that has changed how I move, if I'm being honest. Because I don't feel like I'm doing things trying to get the approval of someone. I kind of move as if I've already gotten the approval. And that now it's just a matter of choosing how I'm going to go about doing it. And that's changed stuff for me. it is very contrary to how the dance world works, because out here, especially in LA, if you're not there, you're not thought of. You're easily replaceable. You're lucky to even be in this room, so shut up is basically how dancers are often expected to show up and to move through the world. And if I already assume that I'm worthy of things, it changes how I'm gonna work. It changes why I'm gonna work. Because now I'm not working so that I reach the approval of people. Now I'm working on something so that it's actually successful, so that it actually reaches the right people, so that I'm actually creating quality work. I'm not just out here working so that I'm going to get noticed and posting stuff. And so that's honestly what kind of made me decide I'm going to take a break from YouTube, because I felt like I was kind of like on this hamster wheel of like just churning out stuff because I wanted the algorithm to notice that I was doing something, and I didn't want to be left behind because I'm already very small. And I was like, if I stop posting, I'm not going to make any money anymore on YouTube. And that's not true, I've found. And I just think to myself, like, wow, I was the person who was inhibiting myself from experiencing this time of rest. Because not only am I just like literally resting and getting more sleep in this time where I'm not churning out as much content, but it's also been an eye-opener to how I possibly want to work in the future. I'm recording more of these Dance and Other Things episodes with some really talented dancers and creative people, and they're going to be these interviews that I hope you guys are going to take a lot from. And so I have been taking my time editing them because now I have all of this time. So even though I have been recording them, everything's moving a little bit slower, and I'm seeing how I'm able to really stretch my creativity in my editing now because I don't feel so pressed to have the video out by the end of the week. I'm seeing how I want all of these things to connect, and I feel like in a way I'm working on a television show that's off season right now. And there's a reason why they do that, and now I'm realizing, because it's a much more efficient way to work. And like I said, in this time, my subscriber count hasn't gone down. I haven't had people all of a sudden start leaving negative comments. Nothing has changed. And I'm like, wow, I really am still worthy when I am resting. Like, ain't shit changed. And I think it's because when I have created the stuff that I've created in the past, people have told me, oh, you want to be a content creator in the world of dance, like you got to learn these TikTok videos. That's what's really popular right now. You got to be able to hit up on all the songs that are really current at the time. And honestly, if I did that, I would not be feeling the same level of consistent growth that I'm feeling now during this time of rest, because those things are very time sensitive. A song is popular for a time and then it's not. Whereas the things that I've created, they're what people would consider evergreen content. So they're things that people are always going to be searching for. And now that I've done those, I don't have to do them anymore because I know that they're things that people are still going to be searching until the end of time. And because I listened to my gut, because I didn't listen to what other people had to say about what kind of stuff I was going to be putting out, I'm reaping the benefits of that. And so I'm also learning that, like, when I learn to listen to myself, do things that are in alignment with what I'm trying to do and who I'm trying to show that I am also given the gift of being able to rest, which is pretty cool. I'm not chasing an algorithm. I'm not working for the algorithm. I'm working for myself and for you guys. The third thing that I've learned about loving rest and just understanding my relationship with time is something that I've already known, but I feel like I keep learning again and again. And it's that if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. How do I put this? Everything that possibly comes to me, it now gets sifted through a filter of, do I actually want to do this? I don't care how great it sounds to do something. Do I actually want to do this? Is this actually how I want to choose to spend my time? And in doing that, it's required me to learn to change what my immediate response is when I get approached for certain things. And this is something that one of my close friends and I were talking about, is she was saying, like, I feel like, like at the time, like something sounds like a really great idea and I want to show that I'm grateful that they came to me with it. And so I say yes. And then the day comes and I'm like, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, yeah, girl, you gotta learn, instead of responding with yes, to respond with, let me think on that. And you don't have to say it in those words, but oh my gosh, thank you so much for bringing this to me. Let me think on it and see if that's something I'm going to be able to really commit my time to. Because being excited and eager about something will lead us to just be like, yeah, sure, what time? No. You and your time are not that readily available for anyone. Ever. I don't care who they are. Everything that gets brought to me now is going to receive a response kind of like that. And to the effect of, let me think on it. Because when you think on something, especially if you give yourself at least a day, it don't really sound all that sweet after a day. When the excitement is worn off and you go back and you read that message again and you kind of see the details, or you notice that they didn't really give you exact days for how long something's going to go. They don't really outline what the rate is going to be for it. They, now I'm not so sure. And you'll be really grateful to yourself that you gave yourself that buffer of time to think on it. And I feel like we should just, especially as people who are using our bodies essentially for other people, to put their art on, we have to learn how to value ourselves. Because at the end of the day, if someone else didn't value your body doing that choreography, they wouldn't have hit you up. They're hitting you up for a reason. They value your body doing their choreography for a reason. So you also need to value your body to understand what the value of that actually is. And it needs to go into how we feel about ourselves. Because how we feel about ourselves will most definitely impact how we choose to use our time. Will most definitely impact how we allow ourselves to rest, and what we allow that rest to look like, and what expectations we put on ourselves outside of that rest. Because at this point, I have so many people in my life who are used to me saying no. They are so used to me saying no sometimes that when I finally say yes to something, they're excited. They're pumped because they know that I'm pumped about it. They know that I'm into it. And then, boy, that creates such a better work environment. That creates such a better friendship and just relationships. It makes everything better when people don't have to second guess if you're actually excited about what you're doing. If your yes was really coming from a real yes and not like I don't want to be mean, so I'm sure I'll say yes. A lot of people, and dancers especially, choreographers especially, they will use dancers in the ways that they feel they want to use them. And I've seen this firsthand. Choreographers who will give dancers opportunities, but they're only unpaid. And for the paid opportunities, they're going to someone else. And so they will use you unpaid until the cows come home. because they know you're going to say yes. But say no one time and see what happens. Because in my experience, you say no that one time, sometimes they don't want to deal with you after that. They put you in a box, basically. They decided what box you fit in. And when you are choosing not to be put in that box, it's almost like a how dare you. Because people aren't used to dancers asserting control over how they use their time. And don't let you be a woman. Don't let you be a minority. Oh, then it's really a how dare you. Different conversation. Maybe another day. So yeah, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no for me. Now, the last thing that I've learned when it comes to building a love for rest and really building a relationship with time is that sleep is a gift that allows us to do more while doing less. There is something about getting 8 hours of sleep that people want to be the exception to the rule of. They're like, oh, I don't need 8 hours of sleep. I'm good on 6 hours. I'm just not a sleep person. Like, get out of here. For whatever reason, it has been praised for people to not need sleep, with the idea or with the belief that in the time that they're not sleeping, they're on their grind, they're working on something, they're hustling, etc. But the thing about our brains is that it is much more efficient when it has restful sleep. When your brain has time to recharge, because your brain's not only just recharging when you're asleep, it's also actually making sense of your world, which is pretty cool. In an article by Malik Carmen titled How Sleep Improves and Impairs Creative Ability, it says dreaming is a way for the brain to evaluate real-world experiences. The brain goes through and decides which memories to encode as long-term memory. This auto-evaluation sorts and strengthens neural connections. The brain can assess a problem from earlier without outside interruptions. This helps you see the problem in a new way, making it easier to solve the following day. And it even says in 1983, Harvard Medical School did a research study where participants were instructed to ask themselves a question right before bed. Each day for a week, participants would write out the same question before bedtime and record any dreams that they had. They made special notes on dreams that pertained to a possible solution to their question, and at the end of the week, over half of the participants dreamt about the issue, and a quarter of them found a solution during their dream cycle. How freaking cool is that? Talk about working smarter, not harder. This is why I'm rest gang. You feel me? Hashtag rest gang. Because the way that we view ourselves and our time and our rest, it has to be in a way that actually is helpful for us. Like if we're creating these ideas about sleep and rest that actually in real life aren't applicable, things that are just good in theory, but in actuality don't help us or don't serve us, then why are we living with those beliefs? And who are they actually helping? Fun fact, they're helping capitalism and the elite 1%. But anyway, sleep is a gift, you guys. And so I want to run these back for you one more time, because I know this one is probably a bit lengthy, but the first one, take time to define what your day-to-day is going to look like. Set a goal, a visual schema, if you will, for what your day-to-day is going to look like so that you're actually using your time in a way that's moving you toward what you want. 2, understand that you're still worthy even when you're resting. You're worthy when you're doing all the things, and you're worthy when you're doing nothing. And how are you going to allow that to change how you choose to move through the world? 3, if it's not a hell yes, then it's a no. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And man, how powerful that is. Not only for yourself, but for the people around you who get to work with you when you do use your yes. And finally, sleep is a gift. It's a gift that allows us to do some of the most important work without actually doing it with effort. And so embrace that and embrace how that's able to impact your day-to-day life. I hope this episode did something for you guys. Let me know in the comments down below the last time that you said no to something. I'd love to hear the last time that you said no to something. If you want to go even further and tell me what the response was after you said no, I'd love to hear that too. But don't feel no pressure. Ain't no pressure over here. I'm not trying to get in your business, you know what I'm saying? Share what you're willing to share. But yeah, let me know the last time you said no, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. I'm so excited for these other dance and other thing episodes that I'm going to be bringing you guys. And in the meantime, I hope that you are well rested and use your time in a way that serves you most. Love you guys, and I will see you in my next episode on another weekend. Later.